now. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Mike, the Developing Dad, coming to you with a new podcast. Okay, we're starting a new series. It's called Bite-Sized Chats. Now, normally it would be 8-minute long chats, but we're going to do something a little bit different to start off. I have with me Mrs. April Chapman, and we're going to be discussing basic healthy living. All right. So I'm going to give April a chance to introduce herself in a second, but I want to give you an idea of what the bite-sized chats and the Developing Dad podcast will be about in the future. And you'll see it popping up here on your screen. We're going to be focused on biblical worldview training, reclaiming biblical manhood and womanhood, classical Christian education, entrepreneurship training, and what's most important today, holistic living. All right. So I'm going to This is April Chapman. Introduce herself to you, a little bit about yourself.
Hey, so hi, I'm April Chapman, and I am the founder and director of Basic Healthy Living. Basically, I am a serial entrepreneur, but I've always been incredibly passionate about health and wellness. Even before I embraced like a holistic lifestyle, just family background on my paternal side. My grandmother was an herbalist in her own right. And so we've always just had a wonderful appreciation for plants and just alternative methods of healing ourselves. And so that's basically how I initially became interested in holistic living. And then fast forward, after you become a wife and then, the children start to come, you really start to pay attention to like, wow, how do I keep this child healthy? How do I feed and nourish my family in a way that's definitely going to honor God, but just so that we can just have not our best life now, because this is as good as it's going to get for a lot of people, but just so that we can just honor God with how we eat and how we live in just a more holistic way. And so when I first had my first son, and after just dealing with some health challenges with him, after just doing a lot of research and not really finding the answers I needed, I just decided to go back to school. And I did that and became a holistic health practitioner and a master herbalist. And so that's where most of my formal training took place. And Basic Healthy Living, I know a lot of people think it's a new company, but it's not. Basic Healthy Living has been around since 2012. It's just that as a serial entrepreneur, when you wear a lot of hats, there are seasons in your life where you kind of step back from one thing and kind of give more attention to others. And that's just basically what happened. But this COVID-19 pandemic really made me just like, you know what? I got to come out of retirement, because I said, there's this wealth of knowledge that I have, and I just got tired of the propaganda and people feeling like this is something happening to me, and I don't have any tools to fight back. That really bothered me. And so I hunkered down for like 3 days, and I just pumped out 2 books that really would help people during this time, because pandemics have a way of making people become or at least confronted face to face with their mortality. They start thinking about, oh wow, I haven't been taking care of myself. Am I next? Am I gonna succumb to this virus? And so I felt that it was just the right time for me to put the book out and to begin speaking more about a holistic lifestyle. And so Basic Healthy Living is a company, but I really look at it as a lifestyle.
All right. Look, you came out of retirement like Michael Jordan, huh? Right.
They need skills, bro.
Right. But we're gonna do a little bit better than what he did with the Wizards. We're gonna it's like Michael Jordan coming out of retirement for the second three-peat. That's what we're gonna look at, right? The second three-peat. All right. So you kind of gave us a really good idea of what basic healthy living is, the company, but give us an idea of what your concept is of just a basic healthy life. And that may be diet, exercise, whatever that may be, but give us the grounding principles for what you're doing with your company.
Okay. So the basic principles is what I want people to know, is that it's not about perfection, right? Because anybody who knows me knows I am not this super, okay, I'm rigid in some things, but I live, like I enjoy life, like I love food, but I recognize that food is just a means to help me sustain life, but food can also impact my quality of life if I'm not making healthy choices and wise choices. So the basic healthy living lifestyle, it's really about not perfection, but it's about making small incremental changes over time that just produce lasting results. Obviously, we can do everything that we can do as fallen humans to try to craft, perfect health. But at the end of the day, we recognize that God is sovereign and that we're just only responsible for what we can do. And so one thing is we're responsible for what we put in our bodies, and we are responsible for how we treat our bodies. And so with that, it's really just about, it's like I said, it's not about perfection. It's just these small incremental changes and then educating yourself so that when you know better, you do better.
All right now. Amen. No, that I'm right. I'm right with you on there. Now, what I want to do there, we got some viewers here. We want to let you know that we're also going to be taking questions from you. So before I go into asking more questions, be sure to comment. I'm watching the comments, and if there are comments that or questions that you would like to ask, just put them in the chat, and I'll make sure that we get a chance to ask April these questions before we close out this talk. But I have some questions lined up, and I'm going to start asking April. We kind of went over them before, so she knows what they are. But I mean, she says she works great on the fly. So we're just gonna start peppering her with questions. Is pepper okay? That's the first question. Is pepper okay? Right.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. We got question number 1 down. It's all right to eat pepper. Okay. All right. So here's a good question. I think I came up with this one. I'm not gonna, I came up with it. So of course I think it's a good question. But with all of the stuff that's going on with COVID-19 and the pandemic, how can I strengthen my immune system? And I see I got a typo in there, but how can we strengthen our immune system?
Yeah. So that is a very good question. And I know we're live, so April forgot to put her phone on.
Hey, it's all good.
How can one strengthen their immune system? It's a very multifaceted question, but without overcomplicating it, what I'd like people to know that immunity is something that's pretty much innate. Like God created our bodies with an immune system. And our immune systems are our first line of defense against pathogens, external pathogens on the outside. And the best way to do that, unfortunately, is not necessarily what you are putting into the body, but it's more so of what you don't allow. That it makes sense, what you don't allow in. So for example, toxicity impairs our immune system. And when I say toxicity, I'm talking about the air we breathe, the food we eat, the things we put on our skin, environmental toxins. Those are things that over time impair your immune system. So let's take a newborn baby, for example, just like in the perfect sense. They're born with this immune system. And over time, we start to do things to it. We start introducing, by bypassing our natural responses, we start introducing substances and chemicals that are inorganic, meaning that could be a vaccine, or, you might start putting baby oil on the baby because you just, someone told you, oh yeah, you got to put a little baby oil on the baby. And then over time, this baby starts to eat food. So they either, if they're breastfed, they eat breast milk, or if not, they're given formula. Whole nother conversation, but that's another level of toxicity. At that point, you've introduced to the baby. And then you fast forward like 40 years. You got 40 years of living, eating, and breathing, and your defenses over time become weakened. And it really has a lot to do with what we're putting in. Our bodies have like a system of detoxification. When you sweat, that's a form of detoxification. When you urinate, that's your kidneys filtering out toxins. Your liver has a role in that. I mean, your bodily systems, your colon, when we use the bathroom and, you go boo-boo, that's your body breaking down food, eliminating toxins. Well, what happens is over time, depending on the type of food you eat, your level of toxicity increases. And over time, these things impact and impair your immune system. So to answer the question, how do you strengthen your immune system? You really need to kind of stop putting all the bad stuff in And like I said, it's not about being perfect, but if you know aspartame is bad and you like Diet Coke, you may want to stop drinking aspartame, right? Not only is, you're going to have some immune system issues, but now you're introducing some whole other problems, such as your neurological system. Your brain is messed up. Now you can't remember nothing. You got early onset Alzheimer's in your 20s. Things like that. But there are substances known to man that are from the earth that do an amazing job of boosting the immune system. And I can just rattle off a few off the top of my head, right?
Go ahead.
For example, olive leaf extract. It's a plant. It's the extract that's extracted from the olive leaf. It does an amazing job of boosting immunity. Everybody knows about vitamin C. Yeah, you might have some politicians talking about, vitamin C is not that great, but we've known forever how important vitamin C is. Dr. Linus Pauling, like in the 20s, was healing people from cancer with like high doses of vitamin C intravenously. So we know that vitamin C as an antioxidant has the ability to cause oxidative death to a cell. It kills off the bad cells and strengthens the immune system so that you can live to fight another day. Something else that's very important for the immune system, I would say, let's see, we did vitamin C, olive leaf extract, turmeric. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory root herb, but it's good for the immune system. Black seed oil, something else, great for the immune system. But outside of that, these are nice supplements to take. Eating a lot of plants, a diet of high in fruits, nuts, seeds, sprouts, all of those foods working in synergy with one another, they do an amazing job of just strengthening the immune system. It's basically giving your body what it needs to thrive. So if you're putting in more good stuff than bad stuff, you're not going to really have a whole lot of immune system dysfunction. It's just the way it works. The immune system starts to go haywire when we start introducing substances that the body was never designed to metabolize, such as certain pharmaceutical drugs, tobacco, too much alcohol. Notice I didn't say alcohol, without distinction, because wine fermented, it's alcohol, but anything in excess has the propensity to impair immunity. So hopefully that was a nice broad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to type and put out those supplements and vitamins and everything as you were talking. And we've got some comments coming in as well. We've got some people, we got Henry Knox said baby oil, LOL, when you're talking about rubbing into baby oil.
Right. You can't put that. Right. Mineral oil it doesn't belong on the skin. The skin can't breathe. It can't breathe with that.
Yeah.
Fogging pores.
So we got Michael, and I'm going to try to pronounce his last name. Ndebamadu, right? Maybe. I think I'm close. All right.
It sounds right.
Right. All right. It says stressful environments to harm our immune system, right? So you got stress around you. Yeah.
A lot of stress. If you're dealing with like anxiety, like right now, just the stress of knowing you could get the COVID-19 virus has impaired a lot of people's immune system. Constantly at home, freaking out over the surfaces. Did I clean it enough? Did I let the germs in? Like all of that. Listen, especially if we're believers, we just need to pipe down for a bit. Like you cannot live a life frantically in fear and paranoid like that, because it does impact the immune system. It's that causes all kinds of chemical imbalances in the body, and then your body goes into like a flight or fright mode, which impacts immunity. Perfect example. There are people on Monday who feel fine, life is going good, they're healthy, and then on Tuesday they have a doctor's appointment and the doctor tells them they have cancer. Just hearing that news and the stress that results from that news has the propensity to weaken your defenses and make you more susceptible. Like you were the day before without that information, you were fine. And now on Tuesday, all of a sudden, your heart is beating fast. You can't sleep. Lack of sleep impairs immunity. Not getting enough sunshine, vitamin D. Like God created us to be outdoors, enjoying his wonderful creation. Our bodies actually make vitamin D from the sun. 15 minutes of exposure a day does an amazing thing to the immune system.
So now you stepping on my toes because I work at home and I don't get outside enough. No. That's all of us now, right? But look, and this is a good scripture for those of us, for believers to be reminded of, right? For God has gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And that's also a part of what we're going to be talking about as well. But we have some more questions from the comments. Well, we got Michael continuing. He says blueberries, cranberries, strawberries, antioxidants. We got what's up? We got a yay or nay on that.
Absolutely. So your berries, like we have food that range across a color spectrum. And the way I love God in the sense that his mind will never be able to, it's incomprehensible how he created these foods. But like foods like orange foods, for example, carrots and oranges and sweet potatoes, vitamin A, lots of beta carotene. And like Michael said, your berries, like the blueberries, your strawberries, your blackberries, your raspberries, those foods are antioxidants, which means they fight against free radicals and oxidative stress. Like oxidative stress is basically like when the cells just, it happens. It's a natural chemical process that happens, but when cells start to die off, well, you need antioxidants because you don't want cell death, or at least you want bad cell death, like cancer cells. Yeah. Those are bad cells. Like we want those, but they leave waste products behind. So those kinds of foods are excellent, particularly blueberries. They have a very high antioxidant count. But most people don't even know broccoli. Broccoli is incredible for immune health as well as it's high in antioxidants as well.
No cheese on it though, right?
Yes. All right. Well, all right. So when I mention a lot of these foods, I am referring to these foods that they need to be consumed in their most natural state. So if we're boiling broccoli till it's like the color of like is brown, you killed the food. Like you killed your broccoli. Your broccoli should be bright and vibrant. Like just put if you have to put heat, just put a little heat on it, just a little. But it's still crunch to it, you know. But it's best eaten raw, and it's even better when you juice it.
Look at you now. All right, we're gonna get to that in a little bit now. But she said you done killed the food. I was like, you done.
Most of us are eating just dead food. It's void of any nutrition once we're done manipulating and doing all the stuff we do to it. And don't get me wrong, listen, I am married to a Southern man, and so when he's like, babe, I want mac and cheese, babe is gonna make mac and cheese. When he's like, I want some prime rib, I'm gonna make him some prime rib. But we just recognize that we can't eat those things every single day and not have to deal with the consequences that result. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand. So let's get back to some of these comments. We got Edwin Ramirez. He's like, eating healthy equals post meal.
Listen.
Here we go. Don't start that eschatology stuff on my
eschatological conversation with y'all right now.
Right. So Edwin also says not enough sunlight and fresh air. People aren't getting enough of that. Yeah. Henry has a really good question, and I think this will lead into something that we're going to talk about a little bit later, a resource that you can provide for us. But Henry asked the question, what is the best herb/remedies to start taking if you or someone has contracted the Wuhan COVID-19 virus or a respiratory infection in general?
Very good question. So your audience may not know, I recently put out 2 ebooks. One is called the Respiratory Virus Prevention Protocol or Protection Protocol. And that one is designed for people who like, I'm not sick, but I just need to know what kind of practical things can I do? What should I be taking? What should I be eating? So that I'm just I'm armed, health-wise against this pathogen. And then I have another ebook called the Virus Recovery Protocol. That book is specifically for people who have tested positive, or they're like, well, I don't know if this is the Wuhan, I don't really know, but respiratory wise, I'm coughing, I'm having, shortness of breath, I might or may not have a fever, I've got a lot of mucus going on. That's who that protocol is for. And in that book, and in both books, they are different. Some of the information overlaps, but I specifically went into greater depth and detail on the recovery protocol because there are specific things that those people need to be doing right away so that they can get better. But to answer the question, in the book, I talk about herbs. I talk about specific herbs and in combination with one another that can really, what was the question? If you're trying to prevent or get better? Start taking, if they've contracted.
Yeah, if you contract it, yes.
It's okay. So without giving away too much information, I'm going to talk about, I call it a trifecta, right? You need substances that are going to boost your immune system and get those white blood cells activated. Those are like your little army soldiers that come in and fight when the body has encountered a pathogen. So the white blood cells come in and they're like, wait a minute, what's happening? You don't belong here. We about to fight you. So it's like a 3-pronged stool. The first thing we do is we start boosting the immune system. And I kind of lay out the specific things that you can do and start taking that are going to do that. The next leg of the stool, with people who have COVID, mucus is your enemy, right? Most of the people who are succumbing and dying from this virus, they're dying because all of that excess mucus production, it starts to impact the airways and they're blocking the airways. Well, if your airways are blocked, you're not going to get enough oxygen in. If your lungs are not getting enough oxygen in, you've got other organs that need oxygen too. You've got the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, your heart, right? Like if there's not oxygen flowing in the blood, if you don't have optimum O2 levels, you're going to fade pretty fast. And so the second prong to that 3-legged stool, I really focus on herbs that go to the heart of the matter, which is the mucus. You need to, I tell people how to eliminate the mucus forming foods, and I kind of spell out what those foods are. But there are also remedies inside the book that particularly target the mucus, because viruses and bacteria alike, they feed on the mucus. So that's why people are just like, I keep coughing it up, but I can't figure out, it just keeps coming in. It's because they're not taking anything that's dealing with the mucus. The third thing is you need something that's going to stimulate the lungs as well as relax the lungs, right? And when I say stimulate the lungs, I'm talking about you got to cough this stuff up and you need to get it out. And a lot of people who have COVID find themselves, they're coughing and it's a real laborious, laborious cough, but it's not a productive cough. So they can't, because this mucus, it gets really thick and it starts to harden. So your body's natural response is like, okay, cough, let's get it out. But the coughs that coughing action is not productive enough. So there are herbs in this book that really, they're called expectorants. Their main job is to thin that mucus out enough so that you can cough it out. But what you also find with people with COVID, their lung tissue and the smooth muscles, the pectoral muscles, the smooth muscles over the lungs are really, really irritated because there's been some cell damage. So you need something that's going to relax those muscles, calm the respiratory system down, and pretty much just put it on chill for a little bit. You need those 3 things actions working simultaneously so that you can get better. And then the other thing I do is I include foods. I include soup recipes and juice recipes that are there's one called like the Mucus Buster. It deals with the mucus. But what's cool about the foods in the book is that these foods are so nourishing. So people are going to be like, wow, I have my energy back. Like, I know I have this virus, but I just drank 8 ounces of this juice and I feel alive, because you just drunk live nutrition. Like, you just gave your body like a new lease on life. You're going to feel better. You don't necessarily need to worry about the fever. Fever is your friend. You want your body to have that fever. You want that increased body temperature to kind of burn off. It's designed to help kill the microbe. So that's a nice broad spectrum about what people can do. Henry bought the book, so I'm trying to figure out why he's asking for the names when he knows the names, because he was like probably like the 8th person to buy the book.
Well, look, that's between you and Henry. I'm not getting in the middle of that.
Henry's he's a good Facebook friend of mine. His posts edify me and I enjoy them greatly. And I'm so grateful that you bought the book very early on. So thank you, Henry.
Yeah, y'all use some of that stimulus money and go and buy these books. All right. I'm gonna post the links at the end. We're gonna have the links on the screen at the end, and we're gonna put them in the description of the YouTube video as well, so that you can go and support April. Buy these books. All right. So we got a lot of comments coming in. Most of them are talking about how you're killing it. All right. And I even commented on it. I was like, I'm killing. Yeah, they're loving what you're talking about. So
that's that. Absolutely. Okay. So the reason why right now in our current medical system, the allopathic model that we have, which is basically, it's a fancy word for cut, slash, and burn. We treat you with drugs, surgery, or we cutting you out. You know what I'm saying? The reason why what they're doing is just, they don't have the right tools in their toolbox. It's kind of like when the HVAC man comes to your house to fix your AC, but he come with like a pallet jack or what's the thing you use when you're trying to change your tire? What's that called? I don't know the name. But yeah, Jack. They're showing up to the job with the wrong tools. Yes, oxygen is great, right? But people need to be able to breathe on their own. Supplemental oxygen is fine in emergency situations, but long term, we're not designed to be stimulated and stayed alive by a machine. Your body needs to be able to inhale and respirate on its own. And then the drugs, I mean, we can have a conversation about the drugs, but most of these people who are in really bad shape have pre-existing conditions. So they're probably already on 3 to 4 pharmaceutical drugs. You know, they're probably on a statin drug because the cholesterol is high. They're probably on some sort of high blood pressure regulation, or some diabetic medication like some metformin or something. And then all these drugs have side effects. So then they're on other drugs to treat the symptoms of the side effects from the initial drugs that they took, and now they have a respiratory virus. I mean, they're at sub-zero. They're trying to climb up, and they're like, I can't even get where I need to be because I'm already deficient. I'm already behind. And so how does my protocol address the actual microbe? It's very simple. There are plants that have anti-microbe action. Notice I didn't say antibacterial, because viruses don't respond to antibiotics. You need something that's antiviral. And you want an antiviral that's not going to kill you, right? And cause a whole bunch of other side effects. You just want you just need something that's going to deal with that microbe. And what's so amazing about God and his creation is he has provided us plenty of plants that have not just antimicrobial action, but antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic, and antifungal all in one plant. Olive leaf does that. See, I gave that away. That was a freebie. I'm going to let y'all have that one. But olive leaf, like one plant is antiviral, antiparasitic, antifungal, and antiviral. Like how only God can create something like that. And no matter how smart mankind thinks they are, you cannot go in a lab and replicate that which God has created. It never works. Synthetic derivatives never work as well as natural ones. Why? Because you cannot, for example, people who have or deal with like low iron, right? Their doctors will tell them, all right, I'm going to put you on ferrous sulfate. We're going to get this iron count up. Well, what happens? You get constipated and you don't tolerate it well. It causes all kinds of digestive upset. The reason why that happens is because your body is smart. It has an intelligence system. And it's like, I don't know what this ferrous sulfate is, but it's not the iron that I need. And our bodies don't absorb it. And we don't use it. So most of it's excreted. Iron phosphate, on the other hand, is the type of iron that's found in plant-based sources. Our body knows what to do with that. It knows how to absorb that and use it in the way that it needs to be used. But whenever we try to use an isolation method, like, okay, just give me zinc, give me magnesium, give me calcium, give me iron. When you're trying to separate these minerals, it's very difficult for them to be as effective versus a whole plant taken in its whole form. It's designed to work in synergy, right? Like broccoli, it's an antioxidant, got a lot of vitamin C, but it's also high in calcium. But a chemist will want to go in, well, I just need the calcium. How can I just extract the calcium out and just, why can't we have that? Because then they think, well, then I could patent that. You can't patent plants. And so that's why the tools in the toolbox in our medical system is so deficient. They don't have the right tools. And so they're like showing up to a gunfight, you know, with some nail clippers, like, ping, you know, it's just not, it's not going to work.
That was a nice analogy. I appreciate that one. Look, I'm not, that's why I have you on here. I agree. You're preaching to the choir right now. All right. So we got some more questions. And look, I know April is killing it. Thank you all for these questions. This is making the podcast so much more beneficial than it could have been with it just me asking questions. Thank you all for coming in, everybody that's watching and commenting. Share it. Let everybody know that this is happening. This information is invaluable, especially with what's going on now. People need to hear this, okay? Because the medical system, Maple just talked about it. There are problems with it, but we have the authority given to us by God to eat good foods, and He's created good foods. We have the responsibility to eat good, to eat well, to take care of our bodies and our immune system so that we can have that first line of defense, as April was talking about. So we're going to go to some more questions because, again, this is not my show. I'm letting April, because April's the expert. All right. April's the master herbalist. I'm just a guy that knows how to use StreamYard. All right. So we're going to. All right. So let's see. We've got another question here. Oh, look, we got Tammy Taylor asked a question. Isn't broccoli a hybrid plant?
Yeah. Now I've heard that before. I've Dr. Sebi, who, you know, is a deceased, I respect his work greatly. However, I do disagree with him on a number of things. I disagree with him on his position on broccoli and garlic and a few others. And so the way mankind has evolved over time, like hybrids are not a bad thing. GMOs are what's bad. Like when you start taking DNA from one plant and mixing it with like the DNA of a salmon, like that's where you cause problems. Now we've been doing this for centuries where we'll take plants like corn, for example, and you can create different varieties of corn. And I'm not a gardener, so, you know, I don't claim to be the expert on that. But what I will say is that broccoli, even over the evolution of time, when I use the word evolution, I'm not talking about like millions. I'm just talking about how plants evolve and change based on how we plant them. There's great benefits in broccoli. And so I have to disagree with Dr. Sebi respectfully on his position on broccoli, because the antioxidant and calcium benefits from that plant, or the benefits don't outweigh the fact of, well, how did we get it, right? As long as it wasn't synthetically derived, we didn't use some sort of, you know, frankenfood seed that was made in a lab to do it, then I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is foods that are derived or use genetically modified organisms, because those foods are causing a whole host of problems, lots of autoimmune diseases, lots of allergies. It's really just messing us up. But that is a good question, because I get that a lot. People are like, well, Dr. Sebi don't like garlic. Well, I like garlic. Garlic keeps my family healthy, and we eat a lot of it. So now I get it. If you've got, you know, digestive upsets and GI issues, depending on how you consume garlic, it might be problematic for you. But in terms of its antifungal and, it's just too many properties, it's too valuable for me to discount the GI issues that may result, when you eat it.
All right. So we had a question or a request that I give some information about where to buy the book. So I'm putting this information on the video, and I'm going to vocally tell you as well. So we're supporting April's business is Basic Healthy Living. You can find her information at www.basichealthyliving.com. She also can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/basichealthyliving. And her email is april@basichealthyliving.com. And if you want to go directly to the link where you can buy her products, it's just basichealthyliving.com/products. All right. So we're going to move on to another question. Let's see what we've got here in the comments. Let's see. So we got Edwin over here. So why it got to be the Wuhan virus, right? And then we got, we got the answer. Hold on. We got Tammy answered him. She said, because that's where the coronavirus originated from. Thank you, Tammy. All right. Put that down. Put that down right there. All right. Let's see. We got another one. We got Edwin here. The wild thing is that the medical industry has produced so much propaganda and has convinced people the alternative medicine is given and taken by quote unquote crazy people. You want to speak a little bit to that?
I would love to address that. And you know what? I love these kinds of questions and statements. Particularly, the reason why I like it, you know why? Is because the crazy people, like, we don't boast the death numbers, right? That the allopathic industry does. Like, they account, if you can tell your listeners to Google the word iatrogenics. Right? That's literally death by doctor, where it's like your doctor killed you because it went on purpose, but poorly prescribed medication, incorrectly prescribed medication, just errors and just it just happens, right? Those numbers are just astronomically high, right? You have people are not dying because they ate too many plants. You have whole civilizations in this world that eat I'm not saying entirely plant-based, but they eat a high plant-based diet. They do not boast the Western diseases that we have. They don't have the cancer and the heart disease and the high blood pressure and the diabetes that we have. They just don't, because they live a very simple life. They don't eat a lot of processed foods. They live just closer to nature than we do. So for people that, we got to use the brain that the good Lord gave us, right? Modern medicine has done a remarkable thing in making strides as it relates to technology and things like that, like life-saving mechanisms. Like, if I get hit by a Mack truck, I want them to rush me to the ER to surgery so they can piece me back together again. But when it comes to dealing with disease, we suck. Plain and simple. I said it. You can quote me. You know what I'm saying? You can put my name. You can do all of that. Why? Because the numbers don't lie, right? We've been fighting cancer for 50 years and we are not winning that battle. We're just not. We're using the same chemotherapy drugs from 50 years ago that are working no better than they were back then. But I can guarantee you, people are not dying because they had too much olive leaf extract. They're not dying because they drank too much carrot apple juice. But I can tell you that their blood pressure numbers are remarkably better than those who are on, blood pressure medication. So it's propaganda designed to suppress truth and to promote what makes money. Like I said, you can't patent plants, and sick people are profitable. Healthy people are not. Like, people just need to sit back and think. Just think for a moment. Like, when I said this on another interview I had with Mario Cuomo? See, I'm from New York, so I know his dad was Mario.
It's one of them.
What's the son's name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, when he dogged vitamin C and put it down and called it quackery, I was like, you, sir, are a fool. That was the only thing I could say. Because I'm like, here you are locked in your house. These doctors have nothing to give you other than to tell you to stay quarantined in your home, away from your own family, and call us if you can't breathe. That's the solution they are giving you. And telling you to take fever reducers, which we can get into a conversation about that, but I would not urge a person to take a fever reducer. Fever is your friend. When my kids, the few times they've been sick, when they get a fever, I'm like, oh, good, yay. You work with the fever. Now, I'm not saying just leave the child in the corner to themselves with the fever. What you do is you work with the fever and you support the body's healing process. You keep them comfortable. You keep them hydrated. You just allow the fever to run its course, because when you prematurely lower a fever, you're interrupting the body's healing process. And then 3 weeks later, you're sick again. Well, it's not that you're sick again. You never really allowed your body to work through the illness and get better. You interrupted the healing process. Sometimes we really need to just get out of the way. We need to just get out of the way and let the body do what it's designed to do.
There you go. Look, and I put that down there too. Fever as your friend.
Your friend.
I remember that from another video that you were on where you talked about that. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's telling you that there's something wrong and that your white blood cells are doing their job. Let them fight.
Yep. Hey. Oh, so we got a this is that his official title from Tammy? It's Andrew, but the other part, Antichrist Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Mario was his father, who's deceased now. Yeah, I can't keep all their names. Yeah, but they are a godless bunch. Those three.
Yes. So, all right. So we've covered a lot of topics. Most of them I had in the list, but other people have asked those questions. We've talked about supplements, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about appliances. And she's laughing because she knows she's about to go. I'm just about to be quiet and like.
All right. So we had this inside joke going because I remember a couple of years ago, I posted about like my favorite appliance, which is my Vitamix. So Vitamix is a high-speed blender. And I can't remember, but Michael posted this picture of like this little struggle machine. He was calling a blender. Was it the little ninja, the little baby? Child clown him so bad. I said, Michael, sir, we have got to get you a grown man's blender. No, you can get this childish machine off that countertop. No. Now, granted, at the time, now Vitamix, it is a very expensive machine, but let me explain why. And yes, I am a Vitamix apologist. I have owned my Vitamix for over 10 years. It has served our family so well. It has one of the best warranties on the market. First of all, Lord forbid if something happens to it. It's very rare, but if something does happen to it, you ship that Vitamix back and they will fix it. They'll even give you a new little carafe. It's just amazing. But what makes this blender so amazing is that it pulverizes food at a very high speed without the damaging effects. And it's just, once you've had a Vitamix smoothie, you are literally never going to want to drink a smoothie from another machine ever again in your life. You'll be like, what is this chunky mess you've called a smoothie? I mean, it does it all. So now I'm not saying that, what's the competitor? You have Vitamix and you have Blendtec. Blendtec's a nice blender. Those Blendtecs you might see in like your Planet smoothie, they're decent. But I'm a Vitamix apologist. And so I believe that every home should have a Vitamix. Because you can't just make smoothies, you can make soups in them. I make, like, if you wanted to make powdered sugar, you can make powdered sugar in your Vitamix. You can grind nuts. You can make your own flour in a Vitamix. I make almond milk in my Vitamix, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter. We use the Vitamix every day, sometimes twice a day. So you need a Vitamix. But
you got
I understand it's an investment, right? But okay, so here's the pushback I get. Oh my gosh, that's too expensive. Like, I'm not spending that much money on a blender. Listen, health is an investment. Just like you invest in your home to raise the property value, you got to invest in your health. And to invest in your health, sometimes you got to break the bank just a little bit. I'm not telling people to be fiscally irresponsible, but I'm saying don't go buy another Michael Kors purse and get your vitamins, right? I'm saying don't go buy the next PS. Is it 3 or 4? Where are we at now? 5? I don't know.
I don't know.
But don't do that. Get you a Vitamix. Get you something that's going to last you for years to come. It's going to nourish your family. It makes you smile. You will never meet a Vitamix owner that says, "Oh gosh, I hate that machine." You'll never meet. They don't exist. Mm-mm.
All right, so look, we've got people. You got people clowning me in the comments. So hashtag struggle machine. And yes, it was a Ninja. And
Mm-mm.
you also got on me because I was using soy milk at the time. Do you remember that?
I remember. I was like, "Son, you don't need that estrogen in your life. Get rid of that soy milk."
I have not drank soy milk since then. All right.
And you couldn't figure out why you were so sensitive and crying. I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you.
Look at you. Look at you. All right. So we got my mother-in-law here says she just bought a Vitamix. All right. So she got there before I did. But look, part of my stimulus check, I'm using it on your books. Besides investing and saving, I'm using it on your books, on a Vitamix, and some new guns. That's my three.
I just got a new gun too.
I saw. I think, look, I'm gonna buy Nasha one like you got. So
yeah.
Yes. All right, let's see. Any other questions in the comments? All right, we got some good comments. Our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes. So my mother-in-law actually mentioned the Blend Tech.
Yeah.
We got Tammy saying health is wealth. That is, you gotta invest in it. I don't, I go ahead, go.
The other, we were talking about appliances, right? Okay, so
yes.
I do believe everybody should have a good blender in the home, but you also would want to consider, if you're really trying to embrace a holistic life and just get more fruits and vegetables in, it is incredibly difficult to get in that kind of volume by chewing and eating it. So now, granted, I support wholeheartedly, like, yes, get it in however you can, but the best way to consume fruits and vegetables is a juice, which is different than a smoothie. Like, smoothies blend and it keeps the fiber in. Juices extract the juice, separating the juice from the fiber. So you cannot make a juice, at least without a lot of work, in a blender. You need a juicer. And there are two juices I recommend. I actually put them in my book. I recommend either a masticating juicer, which it's a little slower, but hey, I say pray for your loved ones while it's juicing. It's a little bit more labor intensive in the sense that you do have to prep and cut up the fruit and the vegetables before, but it's called the Omega, and they have many different brands. I think the cheapest model might be like 2 something, but the Omega juicer, or if you just have to start somewhere, like my first juicer was a Jack LaLanne juicer. Okay. And I loved that juice, and we still have it. You have to start. I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, I can't be healthy today because I haven't gotten all my equipment. Start where you are and upgrade later, right? So like my first juicer was a Jack LaLanne, and then I moved up to a Breeville juice fountain, and then I moved up to my Omega. So it just happened in stages. And just like you, now I never started with a little bullet, but I did have a little oyster, blender that I started with. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going hard or I'm going home. So I just took the plunge and got the Vitamix. Those are 2 important appliances that I would say every home should have. Why? Because children tolerate fresh pressed juices very well. For one, like my 10-year-old, I cannot put vegetables on his plate, but I can make him a vegetable juice all day long and he will drink it and then go move on with his life. So we deal with nutritional deficiencies with the children by giving them, like Haley and Hannah, my twins, their first food was a green smoothie. Like that's what they ate. It was a green smoothie. And to this day, their taste buds are so accustomed to fruits and vegetables. Like they eat probably like 6 servings of fruit a day. They eat a lot of fruit. They get a lot of fiber in because it's all they know.
That's awesome. I love that idea. We may, my wife is going to watch this, I think, maybe, or I'll just distill it all for her. But we might look into that omega juicer. We're definitely already looking into the Vitamix. Okay. Like that's
Vitamix.
all right. So we're gonna do all of it. We're gonna get it all. I can't I can't have you on here and then not and let you advocate for this stuff and then me not buy it. I have to be,
Yeah.
I can't be a hypocrite. All right.
Start with one.
I got you.
These things, it is a lifestyle, right? And so I say, unless you're willing to just embrace the lifestyle, then don't spend the money. But if you're like, no, this is the direction I want my family to go in. So little, you save up for it. I mean, I'm not talking about like $1,000 machine. I mean, these are like 200, 250, 300 and below machines. But I mean, we find money for the things that are important to us. So instead of getting the new iPhone, maybe you may want to take half of that or 70%. See, I don't even have an Apple Watch. So,
well, look, I have this, because I work out 3 or 4 times a day, but we're trying to, so I would say our family, and this is my personal experience and personal, testimony here. We probably have been at like maybe a 6 or 6.5 when it comes to health. Fitness, we've been, probably like an 8, but we want to push that up to a 10 so that, we can be better about taking care of our bodies. Right. But I also want to make sure that I respect your time. And I have a couple more questions that I want to ask you, and then we're going to let you go, and we're going to give you an opportunity to, plug the book again, right, and the website and everything. But I have a couple of questions because I remember a couple of things that you mentioned on another video. But do you have any suggestions for supplements?
I do. I would say one of the most important that I think everyone needs to be supplementing, because you're never going to get enough of it based on our modern life, is vitamin D3. We're not spending enough time outdoors. Like I have to supplement with vitamin D3 because I homeschool, so I'm indoors. I'm always hunkered down at my computer. It's just not conducive for me to go out like I need to get that sun. So even when I am out, I'm taking advantage of it. But I would say supplement, definitely vitamin D3 is a great supplement. Another supplement, let me see, if I had to prioritize what most Americans are probably deficient in, I would say, okay, so for example, people with high blood pressure. The reason why they have high blood pressure is because there's a sodium-potassium imbalance. Too much sodium, not enough potassium. Now, while I would advocate for them to get the potassium from the foods that they eat, they're probably going to have to supplement with a good plant-based potassium supplement but they're also going to have to decrease the sodium too. Like it's an imbalance. You can take more potassium, but you got to get that sodium under control. I'm trying to think what let me see. I would say, okay, here's one. This will be broad spectrum so that it'll depend, regardless of what your health profile is, you're going to benefit from it. I wouldn't say invest in a good green superfood powder. And there are several on the market. I can suggest some. The ones that we use in our home are made by Amazing Grass. You can go to amazinggrass.com. I am partial to one in particular because I love the energy that it gives. And it's the watermelon flavor. Oh my gosh. It makes every smoothie taste great. And it gives you wings. Like you think Red Bull gives you wings? Mm-mm. You haven't had wings till you've had the Amazing Grass Green Superfood Energy Powder drink. Like you put a scoop of it in your smoothie, and you get that plant-based energy without the crash. But all of the wonderful goodness in that powder, it's got wheatgrass, chlorella, spirulina, barley grass. It's got several servings of fruits and vegetables, like all in this one powder. And so most people are deficient in just their basic nutrients. I would say try to incorporate, from a supplement standpoint, a good green superfood powder. All superfood powders are not created equal. So I would caution people, don't try to be cheap. Like, well, I found one for $6. You don't want that one. You don't want that one. You need to read the ingredients. And I would urge people to become more comfortable with reading food labels. Like, you need to know what's in the food you are eating. That would be a great supplement. Vitamin D3, green superfood powder supplement. That's so hard. See, with holistic people, we tend to need to know more about what is it that you're trying to do in order for us to make proper recommendations. But I can tell you most Americans are just deficient in so many vitamins. Zinc, we definitely don't get enough iodine in our diets. That's why a lot of you're seeing like a lot of autoimmune issues and people with thyroid problems. They're not getting enough iodine. What else would I say?
You don't have to give it all away now.
Yeah.
Save some for the next question. Save some because here's the last question that I'm going to ask you. All right.
Okay.
So, and this is where you get to shine. All right. Because obviously you haven't been shining this whole time, the past 56 minutes, right? But what resources would you suggest to help people in their journey to basic healthy living? All right.
Resources. Well, one, obviously I'm a health coach, right? And time is very valuable. The first thing I would do is to tell people to be honest. Be honest with yourself. And first, you just need to get to the point where you're like, you know what? My health life is just terrible. I am not actively doing anything to improve where I am. I know where I want to be, but I'm not doing anything to improve where I am. I would encourage them to join communities of people who reflect the kinds of health choices that they want to make, right? So I would encourage you, obviously, to follow the Basic Healthy Living Facebook page. Like I said, the business is old. It's not new, but it's been resurrected. So I am steadily trying to put more content out there for people to kind of take in. And, if you feel that the information that I've shared during this time has been useful for you, it is beneficial and valuable for you to consider investing in a health coach, right? Because when you go to your doctor and you ask your doctor, what should I eat? They're not trained in nutrition. So they're like, I don't know. I can tell you what drugs to take, but I can't tell you what to eat. Invest in a health coach, right? I do one-on-one coaching. I will be launching like group coaching programs for those of you are like, listen, I can't afford an hour of your time, but I can afford, a group coaching program where I just pay a fee and I have set modules of things that I need to do. So I would encourage people to look out for that. But if you feel like, you know what, I really need someone to walk alongside me and support me on this journey because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what chia seeds are, but I want to know, I would encourage you to go to basichealthyliving.com. Under the coaching tab, you can book a 1 hour appointment or a 90-minute appointment with me. And what I do to make that time valuable, I ask you, I'm collecting a food diary. What do you eat every day? What does your current health profile look like? What degenerative diseases are you dealing with? What are your goals? I really spend time getting to know you as a person, and I'm invested in your health, but I can't be your big cheerleader. Like, you have to make the decision to want to make these changes for yourself, and I am there every step of the way. So definitely being honest and recognizing that you're going to need help on this journey. And then 2, investing in a health coach, right? you know, people spend money on the things that are important to them. And so it's just one of those things that if it's valuable to you, you'll figure out how to make it happen.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our bite-sized chat on basic healthy living. I want to thank my guest, April Chapman. Thank you again. This was amazing.
Hey.
All right. So we're going to have to invite you back on the show. We can get some more information out there. I mean, I think you gave away like almost all of it, but
Not really.
yeah, I know. There's probably so much more stuff that you could have said. But I mean, you've given us so much information in an hour. Want to thank you for that. Please go and check out basichealthyliving.com. Check out facebook.com/basic healthy living. You can email April. She mentioned you want to contact her to get more information. April@basichealthyliving.com. We're going to put all that information in the description of this video. Again, you can also subscribe to her. I know you're on YouTube, right?
Yeah, just you know, YouTube wasn't my thing, but it is now. So I'm on YouTube now. My YouTube channel, you might have to look for me as April Chapman / Basic Healthy Living. I'm not quite sure.
What I will do, I'm subscribed to you already, so I'll put the link to your channel in the description of this video. Yeah, so we want to thank everybody that's joined in, that's commented, asked good questions. This has been Bite Size Chat. I'm Mike, the Developing Dad, and the purpose of the Bite Size Chats are to reclaim biblical worldview training, reclaiming biblical manhood and womanhood, classical Christian education, entrepreneurship training, and what we discussed today, holistic living. Again, I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all on the next one. Grace and peace.
Amen.
All right.